And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics, and now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues that are going to confront you today. We start off with the news and go into the IRS loses and into the personal issues, and we talk about business. We talk about taxes. We talk about lifestyle. We talk about everything. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer all your meals or your emails, just like I always do. I'm kind of tongue-tied. I don't know why. Now, in today's special segments, we're going to have Sean Lefebvre and me, and we're going to be solving the world's problems, and we're going to be doing a whole lot more than that before we go by. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. First of all, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 76 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I want to do the news for you, but I want to encapsulate that news so that you get an idea of the many things that you need to be aware of all day today and tomorrow. And then what I'll do is I'll do a more in-depth coverage of that news so you get some particulars that you might want to be interested in. But right now, let's just get started with the 10 things you need to know for Thursday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about all day today, Thursday and tomorrow, probably Friday. And the first up is why stock markets keep slumping. You know, investors are worried that low oil prices mean there's not that much demand for fuel, a signal of a slow-growing global economy. And in 2015 was Earth's hottest by a wide margin. From a baked Alaska to a Christmas in July, last year was the warmest year on record by far, scientists say. And a nor'easter getting set to blow. The U.S. Weather Service warns of heavy, perhaps crippling snow across the northern mid-Atlantic region in the coming days. And then next, Buffalo makes NFL history. Catherine Smith is hired as the Bills' special teams quality control coach, becoming the first full-time female member of an NFL coaching staff. And then up next, once unthinkable outcome looms in Democratic race. With 2 weeks until voting begins, Bernie Sanders is in position to win both Iowa and New Hampshire. Up next, latest attack on a school in Pakistan kills 20. The deadly assault by Islamic militants raises questions about whether security forces are able to protect the country's educational institutions. And which volatile topics are intersecting in the United States? Well, abortion and race take the stage as political adversaries spar over the fact that black women get abortions at a disproportionately high rate. And Vietnamese gather to choose rulers. Vietnam's Communist Party opens an 8-day Congress to name a set of leaders to govern the country for the next 5 years. And what message the Pope is sending to Davos? While praising business as a noble vocation, the Pontiff says industry leaders have a responsibility to fight poverty. And then finally, the solar system may have the 9th planet after all. Scientists present good evidence for a long hypothesized Planet X, likely a gas giant almost as big as its nearest planetary neighbor, Neptune. Well, you know what? Let's get into a little more in-depth news here for you today so you can get a little more particulars about what's going on. So let's start off with the disappearance of Bolivia's number 2 lake, a harbinger. Overturned fishing skiffs lie abandoned on the shores of what was Bolivia's second largest lake. Beetles dine on bird carcasses and gulls fight for scraps under glaring sun in what marshes remain. Lake Pupo was officially declared evaporated last month. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people have lost their livelihoods and gone. High on Bolivia's semi-arid Andean plains at 3,700 meters, that's more than 12,000 feet, and long subject to climate whims, the shallow saline lake has essentially dried up before only to rebound to twice the area of Los Angeles. Well, but the recovery may no longer be possible, scientists say. This is a picture of the future of climate change, says Dirk Hoffman, a German glaciologist. who studies how rising temperatures from the burning of fossil fuels has accelerated glacial melting in Bolivia. As Andean glaciers disappear, so do the sources of Pupo's water. But other factors are in play in the demise of Bolivia's second largest body of water behind Lake Titicaca. You know what? Is it going to start really affecting our water supply? You know what? Somebody better wake up. It's not a matter, is it real or isn't it real? How about we do something to protect the pristineness of our planet for ourselves and our kids and our kids' kids? I think we need to do that. Well, you need a UK judge. Putin probably approved killing of an ex-KGB agent. Almost a decade after former KGB officer Alexander Litvinenko lay dying in a London hospital bed, a British judge has concluded who poisoned him. 2 Russian men asking at the behest of Russia's security services, probably with approval from President Vladimir Putin. That finding prompted sharp exchanges today I should say, between London and Moscow in a diplomatic dilemma for both countries. With Russia and the West inching closer together after years of straying, neither side wants a new feud, even over a state-sanctioned murder on British soil. Judge Robert Owen, who led the public inquiry into the killing, said he was certain that 2 Russians with links to the security services had given Litvinenko green tea containing a fatal dose of radioactive polonium-210 during a meeting at a London hotel. He said there was a strong probability that Russia's FSB, the successor to the Soviet Union's KGB, spy agency, directed the killing, and that the operation was probably approved by Putin, then as now the president of Russia. You know what? And it just keeps going on, right? Sure. Well, Washington is in the bullseye of potentially a historic storm. The forecast for a historic blizzard has been there for days, looming over the nation's capital like the UFO from Independence Day. Projected snowfall totals have ticked steadily upward to the point where the National Weather Service, known for its conservative predictions, says more than 2 feet of snow could land on Washington. Residents and elected officials throughout the eastern United States are heeding the warning. States of emergency have been declared in 5 states and the District of Columbia. Schools and government offices are being closed preemptively. Thousands of flights have been canceled. Food and supplies are disappearing from grocery and hardware stores. College basketball games and concerts will have to wait. It's going to be dangerous out there, said Tanya Woods, 42 years old, a Washington Metro station manager who lives in suburban Clinton, Maryland. I say they should shut things down. Well, today or this afternoon, she got her wish. The Capitol subway system announced that it will shut down entirely late Friday night and remain closed through Sunday for the sake of employee and rider safety. Underground stations usually stay open during major snowstorms. It's going to be a bad one. Well, would the Flint crisis happen in a wealthier, wider community? I don't know, but I'll talk to you about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? When we left, we were talking about the news, and I said, would the Flint crisis happen in a wealthier, whiter community? Well, you know, ever since the full extent of the Flint water crisis emerged, one question has persisted. Would this have happened in a wealthier, whiter community? Residents in the former automaking hub, a poor, largely minority city, feel their complaints about lead-tainted water flowing through their taps have been slighted by the government or ignored altogether. For many, it echoes the lackluster federal response to New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. Our voices were not heard, and that's part of the problem, Flint Mayor Karen Weaver said this week at the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting in Washington, D.C., where she also met with President Barack Obama to make her case for federal help for her city. The frustration has mostly been directed at Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, who appointed an emergency manager to run Flint. That manager approved a plan in 2013 to begin drawing drinking water from the Flint River, and the city began doing so the next year. But officials failed to treat the corrosive water properly to prevent metal leaching from old pipes. Snyder, a Republican in his second term, was blasted by Hillary Clinton in her remarks after the recent Democratic presidential debate. We've had a city in the United States of America where the population, which is poor in many ways and minority or majority African American, has been drinking the bathing in lead-contaminated water, and the governor of that state acted as though he didn't really care, Clinton said. Snyder had requests for help that he had basically stonewalled. I'll tell you what, if the kids in a rich suburb of Detroit had been drinking contaminated water and being bathed in it, there would have been action. Flint residents complained loudly and often about the water quality immediately after the switch, but were repeatedly told it was safe. They didn't learn the water was tainted until the state issued warnings a year and a half later. Now, families fear that their health, and especially for the future of their children, who can develop learning disabilities and behavior problems from lead exposure. Snyder, who has apologized for the mishandling of the situation, declined a request by the Associated Press for an interview today. But in response to Clinton's remarks, he said the former Secretary of State should not make Flint a political issue. Well, you know what? I do agree. It shouldn't be a political issue, but somebody had better get a handle on this thing. This is ridiculous. And how about this? Ex-Oklahoma officer gets 263 years for rapes and sex assaults. A former police officer convicted of raping and sexually victimizing women while on his beat in a low-income Oklahoma City neighborhood was ordered today to spend the rest of his life in prison. Jurors had remembered that Daniel Holtzclaw be sentenced, or recommended that Daniel Holtzclaw be sentenced to 263 years in prison for preying on women in 2013 and 2014. District Judge Timothy Henderson agreed, said Holtzclaw will serve the terms consecutively and denied his request for an appeal bond. Holtzclaw waived his right to remain in custody in the county jail for 10 days, instead opting to be taken directly to prison. Defense attorney Scott Adams said Holtzclaw will appeal. It is what it is, Adams said. It wasn't a surprise. Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater had strong words for Holtzclaw, who was convicted last month on 18 counts, including 4 first-degree rape counts, as well as forcible oral sodomy and sexual battery, procuring lewd exhibition, and second-degree rape. Holtzclaw was acquitted on 18 other counts. Well, that's 36 counts. Half of them he was found guilty of. They did the right thing. Just throw away the key. How about this? Some Democrats fear Clinton's message is failing. Hillary Clinton has questioned Bernie Sanders' electability. She's criticized his plans for health care, foreign policy, and Wall Street, and she's tagged him with flip-flopping on gun control. None of it appears to be sticking, and that's raising concerns among Democrats who fear that a months-long primary campaign could create lasting damage for their party. While most believe Clinton will still capture the nomination, some say she is failing to respond effectively to Sanders, fueling both his primary rise and strengthening the Republican argument against her. Others say she got too late a start going after Sanders and is still not hitting him enough, eroding her lead in states that should be safe. They didn't take him seriously enough because they thought they had a gadfly, said John Morgan, a Florida attorney and Clinton donor. The gadfly wasn't a gadfly. He was a lightning bug, and people have been following that lightning bug all over America. You know what? Shouldn't take anything for granted, should we? No, not at all. You know what? At least 3 people were killed in a Somali extremists attack a restaurant. A suicide car bomber rammed the gates of a restaurant near a beach in Somalia's capital before gunmen fought their way into a building in an attack claimed by an Islamic extremist group that killed at least 3 people today, a police official said. The assailants may have taken some hostages inside the Lido seafood restaurant, which is popular with Mogadishu's elite and government officials. Captain Mohammed Hussein said it wasn't immediately clear if any senior officials were trapped in the restaurant. The operation to overpower the attackers is ongoing now. The attackers are still inside and fighting our troops, Hussein said. From the scene of the attack as gunfire rang out in the background. He said he had counted at least 3 bodies outside the restaurant. An unknown number of people are still trapped inside the restaurant, and the death toll is likely to rise when the attack is over, he said, adding that darkness is hampering efforts by the security forces to overwhelm the assailants. Wow. Just, you know what? What kind of world is it? I'm not sure. Well, don't go away. We're gonna go to a happier note. When we come back, I'm going to be talking about the IRS loses. The first case, shares value is reduced by a tax the company could owe. And I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. In the first case up, shares value reduced by tax that a company could owe. Fraser Jelke died owning shares of CCC Incorporated, which owned appreciated securities. To set the value of his shares, Jelke's estate subtracted the capital gains tax CCC would owe on its investments if it sold them immediately from their value on the books. The IRS allowed no such deduction. The tax court allowed a smaller deduction computed using what it deemed a more realistic assumption that CCC's investments would be sold gradually over 16 years. Now, the estate appealed, went to the Court of Appeals, and this is what they said. The tax court's 16-year assumption was arbitrary. It is more reasonable to value CCC at its current liquidation value after capital gains. There you go. It just makes common sense, doesn't it? You don't use arbitrary when it comes to money. How about this? The IRS loses. A home designer may deduct equestrian expenses. Sounds interesting. Well, listen to this. Tracy Topping was a noted amateur equestrian who started a design business that specialized in homes and horse barns. She marketed her services through equestrian contacts by owning horses, competing in events, and being a member of the Jockey Club. But here's the snag. The IRS said that her equestrian activity was a hobby, not part of her business, and disallowed her deductions for more than $320,000 of its expenses. She went to court. This is what the judge said. The overall business was profitable, even accounting for the equestrian costs, and 90% of its customers were obtained through equestrian contacts. So the equestrian costs were deductible as a marketing expense. Makes sense, just common sense. The IRS just tries to run your business for you. They're not allowed to make those decisions and do those things. Here's a case the IRS lost. Partners leave a partnership with no gains tax. Listen to this. Two members of a partnership wanted to leave it for business reasons, so the partnership borrowed $11.9 million and bought notes issued by an insurer in that amount. Then distributed the notes to those partners in liquidation of their interests in it. Now, next, the IRS said that the partners had sold their interests and imposed capital gain or gains tax. The partners said the notes weren't cash, therefore, they had received a tax-free exchange of property. The IRS reply was that they had received notes instead of cash only as a tax avoidance ploy. Here's what the judge said. The notes served a business purpose in letting the partners exchange one investment for another. That the result is tax favored is permitted by law. So the IRS loses. That's what you want it to be. Now, this next segment of the show, we call it Inside the IRS. You know, if you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff, this is where it's at. Now, this isn't tax court case decisions, but this is common sense, and the IRS has set a precedence out there that you can use. So we almost could call this the Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah. Now, you know, the first issue here is making a deal to reduce your credit card debt can mean problems for you with the IRS. Listen to this. If you are solvent, that means your assets exceed your liabilities, and you compromise, that means settle, the amount of debt owed to a credit card company, or any creditor for that matter, the amount of debt discharged represents taxable income. Now, many credit card companies will file a Form 1099-C. That's a cancellation of debt with the IRS to report the amount of debt that you were relieved of paying. The best approach here, don't compromise your debt until you are insolvent or have the debt discharged in a bankruptcy proceeding. That's the best way to handle this. Now, here's another one for you. Tax preparers are illegally claiming the earned income credit, and they are the newest IRS targets. According to the IRS, 70% of tax returns claiming the credit are prepared by professionals. There is a significant amount of abuse as preparers pad their fees by making up numbers permitting taxpayers to get refunds for the earned income credit for which they don't qualify. How this increases the preparer's income? Well, these preparers not only charge for the tax return preparation, but also receive fees from lending institutions for arranging tax refund loans at very high interest rates for their low-income clients. Fees are based on the size of the loan and therefore on the size of the refund. IRS's approach? Certain tax preparers who have been identified by the IRS will be visited during the year and shut down if violations are detected. Now, having said that, do not go away. We are about to solve the world's problems. God only knows how many there are, but I can tell you, my good buddy Sean LaFave is waiting in the wings for his Geared for Wellness Corner, and we are going to spend an hour talking about God only knows what. So don't go away. We'll be right back with my good buddy Sean LaFave right after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 77 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 48 degrees. But you know what? If you live in New York City, it's 6:33 p.m. and it's 31 degrees, but it's clear. But boy, it is cold. Get your coat out there. It's going to be there. You know what? Talking about cold, this guy is everything but cold. He turns the heat up when he walks in a room. This is my good buddy, Sean Lefebvre. Hey, Sean, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Robert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific. I've been looking forward. You know, I look forward to Tuesdays and Thursdays all the time because I get to spend an extra amount of time with you. I generally don't know what we're going to talk about. And even when you do tell me what we're going to talk about, we usually go off in some kind of a tangent someplace. So, basically, where do you, the big thing that's going on now, Bolivia is losing its water supply, and they're blaming it on global warming.
This whole global warming thing, I just saw an article that said they blamed, I don't know what ancient man, I can't remember if he's Neanderthal or what, from 7,000 years ago, because of the farming practices they used, that they were also responsible for global warming.
They had farming practices 7,000 years ago?
Apparently so, and we know enough about it that now we're blaming them for global warming. So, yeah, it's I don't know. I think water supplies kind of come and go. That's why we make reservoirs, because that's just what happens in life. And I don't know. So what do they say? And how is global warming? Are they saying their water is just evaporating? They put black balls all over it, like we did here in LA?
Well, their waters are they are from lakes that are created by the Andes, and right. Apparently the lakes are evaporating and they are gone.
Well, I think it would be a lack of rain at this point. I don't know that it's been that much hotter.
You would think, right? Hey, listen, but you know what? I know where you stand on global warming. You know where I stand on global warming. The truth is you and I both agree on one thing. Whether you believe in global warming or you don't believe in global warming, what you do believe in is to try and maintain the pristineness of this planet for all of the generations to come.
Absolutely. No, you and I definitely agree on that. Be responsible. It's carpool when you can. Don't. I remember as a kid, we lived out in the country and we burned our trash in a burn barrel, and they had days, when the air quality was low, and so they would say no trash burning, for the next 2 days or whatever. And there's a better way of even doing that. But I believe that all of the things that the advocates of global warming want to do to change global warming, I believe should be done. And I think that there's better ways to motivate people to do them than to simply, just tell people, look, it's healthy for you. This is a good thing. This is going to make your life better. Most people are so stuck in just survival mode nowadays that the thought of saving the world is so far removed from us that that's just not a good sales pitch.
I just think that instead of making this a scientific political hot potato, and that's what it is, regardless of what position you take. Okay, there is the one reality, and that is that we can see air pollution, we can see water pollution. I mean, look what's happening in Flint, Michigan. You and I talked about that on Tuesday. You can see. By the way, I want to talk to you about that just for a second. But you can see all these things happening, and those things are effects of man-made, whether it be the exhaust from manufacturing plants or vehicles or whatever the heck it might be. We are causing this pollution, and we should do something about it. And I think you and I agree with that. But
absolutely. Go ahead, Buck.
Yeah. Did you see today that astronomers have found evidence for yet an unseen planet number 9? Pluto was taken off, but now they've got a planet X that's way out there that's supposed to be one of the biggest planets out there. It took them long enough to see it, but I kind of like the idea that we had all these planets. I don't like them taking them away.
I know. If you're going to take one away, give us something else. Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I was raised with this.
This one is outside of Pluto's orbit.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? And
is it? You say it's one of the biggest ones. Are we talking like Jupiter, bigger than Jupiter? Or?
Bigger than Jupiter.
Wow, it must have a really slow orbit if it's out that far.
Yeah, it takes. I think I read something about it taking something like hundreds of years to make a circle around the sun.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because it can't be moving. It's got to be moving much slower than Earth in order to maintain a balance. With the pull of the sun and the centripetal force that would normally take it away from the sun. If it was moving as fast as Earth, it would just go away from the sun. So it's got to be going slower, and its orbit's going to be, how many times bigger than ours? Yeah, that's 100 years. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, unbelievable. Hey, listen, are you familiar with the meeting that's taking place in Davos, Switzerland? All the technological stuff and all the big companies and all of the heads of these magnificent companies are going out there and trying to find common ground and new business and new ways of doing things. And it was interesting. You know what the biggest subject in Davos, Switzerland is today amongst business people?
No clue.
It is the upsetting establishment. Davos elite are alarmed at the unbelievable Trump.
That's what they're all talking about in Switzerland is Trump?
Yep, that's all they're talking about is Trump.
Wow.
And then
this is a technological gathering, and they're talking about Trump.
Yep. And then the lawmakers. I'm trying to find something.
I love how much attention he garners. Everybody, they even the ones who hate him, they just can't stop talking about him. This is awesome.
Well, here's the deal. I actually had I don't think I have it with me. Let me see if I have that. You might find this really interesting if I still have it. Yeah. Did you happen to see the article that Peggy Noonan wrote about Trump last weekend in the Wall Street Journal?
I didn't know. I don't think so. I may have seen it, but I don't remember specifically seeing it.
Yeah, she was talking about things you might not know about Donald Trump. I think he's waking up the Republicans in name only kind of deal that's going on. But she says that Trump believes that America should not intervene militarily in other countries' problems.
Oh, yeah, I did. That's right. Yes, I did see that article. I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yes,
without being compensated. I agree with that.
I totally agree with it. Yeah, I absolutely, totally agree with that. That's right. Yeah, and then that's a great idea. You know what? Why should we spend our money to save you? Back in Desert Storm, the government of Kuwait wanted to pay $10,000 to every single service member that was deployed in that theater for that battle to free Kuwait from Saddam Hussein. And, of course, our government says, no, we're not mercenaries. Thanks for the offer, but no thanks. And, of course, all the rest of us that were in the military were going, no, I'm good. You can call me a mercenary. Just, write the check.
Oh, but, yeah. Well, I mean,
go ahead.
If you think about what that cost, if you think about what's going on there, if America is going to risk the lives of our soldiers and incur the expenses of going to war, then the nations that we help must be willing to pay for our help. Using the Iraq War as an example, he cites the huge monetary expense to American taxpayers, over $1.5 trillion. Why should we foot that bill?
Right, exactly.
That's crazy. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not gonna go through this whole article with you because I don't want to be redundant.
But no, it was. I remember now. I did read it, and the points were spot on. I mean, she made some really great points in that article.
Yeah.
I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but when she started talking about that one, I went, yes, I remember that now. I did read that article.
Well, we agree with all of them. The thing is, what he can and what he can't do is what we don't necessarily agree with. But the one thing I think we also agree on is while most of these legislators may be really upset at what he's proposing, the truth is everything he says, at least me, I'm thinking those things. And I think a majority of people are like me. He's got the guts to actually say it out loud, which is why he's so doggone popular. I can tell you, I really do believe that he is going to be the Republican nominee. I don't see how anybody's going to be able to beat him. And I also think that if Hillary winds up being the Democratic nominee, Trump's got a real good shot at beating her and beating her badly. Now, the only who Trump doesn't want to run against? He doesn't want to run against Bernie Sanders.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think that he would just walk all over Bernie Sanders. I don't see Bernie Sanders as someone who could beat him at all.
Well, all the polls indicate that Trump's got a better shot at beating Hillary than he does of beating Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a confessed socialist, but he wants to spear the financial industry. He wants to change things a lot. And basically, if you think about it, think about this for a second. Trump thinks we ought to have a single payer system and every person in America should have insurance, but not Obamacare because it's just not efficient. So Trump believes in those things. Trump thinks that we should have the strongest military on earth. That's how you keep us safe and secure. So people are afraid to do anything to us, right? So, and he wants to tighten up the borders. These are all things we've all said for years and years and years, but a lot of these things Bernie Sanders happens to agree with. So Trump can't go out there. The only thing that Trump's got going for him, if Hillary goes, it's Trump, non-establishment, fighting Hillary, big establishment. But who's not really establishment, even though he's a sitting senator, is Bernie Sanders. He's opposed to the establishment. So that's why Trump doesn't want to go against him.
I can see that. I would have never. I just have a hard time just imagining Bernie Sanders. I mean, even the popularity that he has now really shocks me. I mean, he is as you said, he's a professed socialist. And how in our society we can, think that putting a socialist in charge of this country is a good idea, and we want to still maintain, our democracy and our capitalism and all those things. I just don't. I just don't see that those two are compatible.
Well, where is our incentive to be innovative and to work hard and to be successful if the government is going to say, I'm going to take a good portion of the result of your hard work and give it to somebody else who's not willing to work that hard?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly why it won't work. This country is too ingrained in an incentive-based system. I was having a discussion with someone about Russia. That what the problem is if you have a socialist or a communist in Russia, but a socialist system, where people aren't rewarded for, as you say, innovation. They said the problem they would have is in Russia. They tell a manufacturer we need some nails. They make, 3-inch nails. And so they would make the nails, but they would make them out of a soft metal. And they're like, no, we need them made out of, a stainless steel or whatever the metal was. You would literally, what you have to do is, because people don't have an incentive to produce the best mousetrap, you got to tell them exactly how to make the mousetrap. Yeah. Or they won't care. They won't put any effort into it, because what's the point? I'm still going to get paid.
Well, you know what? Speaking of being paid, I think we need to take a commercial break, and when we come back, I want to clarify something you and I talked about on Tuesday with regard to Flint, Michigan, and we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFavre after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where it's still at 3:50 p.m., 77 degrees, beautiful outside. But you know what? If you live in Chicago, it's mostly cloudy. It's 5:50 p.m. and it's 28 degrees over there. Getting colder, boys. But you know what? We're talking to my good buddy Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, before we left, I wanted to clear up an issue about Flint, Michigan that you and I were talking about on Tuesday. We're talking about the mayor, and I had explained to you that she was a newly elected mayor. But what I didn't mention to you is that Governor Snyder, because Flint, Michigan was in bankruptcy, Governor Snyder had actually appointed a city manager that oversaw and had all the authority in the city, had to approve everything. And it was that city manager that the governor appointed who negotiated the change in the water supply and didn't do tests to get it all done. And the governor just rubber stamped it and said, okay. And you and I were talking about that briefly, but I wanted to clarify that a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that's going to come up out of this. Today I just had a really busy day, so I really haven't had the chance to stick my face in the news too much. But I did see there was an article about something with the emails that shows that there was that they've known about this for quite a while and so on and so forth. Well, they even made a switch back in October. They switched back to, I think it was in October that they switched back to Detroit's water, but there's still, for some reason, there's still a problem with the water being contaminated. I'm not sure if it's because of, it goes from Detroit to a water tower in Flint, Michigan, and so the water tower still got a bunch of lead sediment or something in it. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I know that the lead is still there, but they're not using that same source from what I understand anymore.
Yeah,
the one that initially was filled with all the lead.
Yeah, no, they're not. But it's been a year and a half, so the damage. I think you and I were talking about it, and you were actually much more knowledgeable about it than I am. But a year and a half, I think the damage has already been done.
Oh yeah, that's a very long time to be drinking water that's filled with lead. That's going to have a lot of long-term damage to those people, and they're going to need all kinds of detox, and they're going to need to go through some chelation therapy. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of things that are going to. You wait 10 years from now, follow those people. They're going to be cropping up with all kinds of health problems.
So let me ask you, if Flint City wasn't predominantly a African American city, and if Flint, Michigan was a wealthier and whiter community, do you think they would have had these problems, or do you think they would have taken care of them immediately, or do you think that they would have?
No, I remember we talked about this briefly too on Tuesday, and that was one of my things that I was upset with Hillary for, politicizing it, but also really turning it into a race issue. I don't think it's a race issue. I do believe that if it was a wealthy community, that this wouldn't have happened. But I think that that's probably because people who live in wealthy communities who have wealth tend to be a lot more proactive on everything about their life anyway. So I just don't think something like this. You can get it because you can go do your research, and if you wanted to learn about the area and where the water's coming from and if it's been tested or not tested or whatever, and I think that when you've got a community of more proactive people, stuff like this isn't going to happen. Like, it could happen, but it's probably not going to go on for a year and a half. Where it's this isn't trying to be derogatory or anything, but people to reach a status of wealth or poverty for a reason, and that is, people who are wealthy tend to be more proactive. People who don't have money is because they're just not out. They're not being intentional in their life, and I'm proof of that myself. I'm on spot and I'm intentional and I'm doing the things I should do. All of the areas of my life are taken care of. I know about my community. I know about my health. I know about my finances. But when I stop being intentional, everyone's gone through that. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people, probably most, I would say, go through times in their life when you get depressed and you stop caring and you stop worrying about things and you don't even really pay attention to what's going on around you anymore. And I think that with a lower income community, that's what, they get stuck in that mode. And I think that's what it is. I don't think it's about race. I think it's an income issue. But it's more of a it's the culture of that community.
Yeah, well, they certainly don't have the influence to get things done. Let me ask you this: since this was something that was done arbitrarily and they've been hurt by it, they need to have medical care. Who pays for that? I mean, these people probably don't even have insurance, or they might have Obamacare, but it's not. Somebody's got to pay for this stuff. I'm thinking it shouldn't be them.
Well, yeah, what's going to happen is I'm sure there's probably already teams of attorneys out there trying to figure out how to make a class action lawsuit about this, against the city of Flint, the county that they live in, the state of Michigan.
But here's the problem, and I know I'm interrupting you, but here's the problem. Yeah. You cannot sue City Hall over these kinds of things. Apparently, I don't think they can do a class action suit.
Can they do it against the state?
I don't think so. I think in a case like this, you'd be suing yourself. So I don't think you can do it.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it.
Well, don't people sue like the police departments? From like a.
Oh, you're suing the police department, not the city government.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
We consider them part of the city government. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they can't sue like the municipal, the municipal organization. There's no way to. That's interesting. I don't know. I would assume that the state or the city at some level should be responsible. Obviously, the governor, is being held responsible for this, which if the governor is being held responsible for this, it must mean that the state is responsible for any damages that are done.
Well, you know what I heard this morning about a fellow that had been incarcerated for a murder that he didn't commit. He had been incarcerated for like 17 years or some ungodly amount of time, and the state had to settle with him for something like $17 million or some ungodly amount of money. And yet there are other people that have done the same thing, and it depends on what state you're in. If the state doesn't have a statute, some states you might be wrongfully incarcerated, but you don't get any compensation for being there. So it's a state by state issue, depending on what their laws are.
Have. So I think this could become a.
So the analogy.
I would say. Go ahead.
Yeah, the analogy I'm trying to draw is with Flint. They may have, or Flint or Michigan in general, they may have laws on the books that keep you from those kinds of actions.
Yeah, and if that's the case, man, they're screwed, I guess, and I don't know how else they're going to get. You're talking a low-income community; they can't afford. They're gonna have all kinds of diseases in the long run if they don't get this taken care of.
Yep. Well, that takes us to our next commercial break, and when I come back, we're going to talk about health and science headlines for today and what we know. Well, Sanders' health care plan. Have you seen any of that? I got some interesting stuff on it, and I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages.
All right.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where it's still 74 degrees, starting to go down here at 4:01 p.m. But you know what? If you live in Paris, France, it's 1:01 a.m. tomorrow, and it's 30 degrees and clear. Now the weather's getting to be short sleeve weather for my good buddy Sean LaFave. That's kind of the weather he loves to be in, I think. What do you think? You like that kind of weather, Sean?
You know what? I like 75 and sunny. That's pretty much it.
So you're not you're a beach guy, not a sea guy, not a snow guy.
Not a mountain guy. Yeah, I'll go visit the mountains. I lived in freezing cold temperature for too many years, and I'm happy if I never see anything below 40 again.
Hey, so listen, let's talk about. You're going to be astounded. You said you didn't get a chance to see the news, so I'm going to just give you a little background. Sanders came out with his health care plan. Oh, Jesus, his health care plan. Basically, it's kind of like he dangles the prospect of Medicare for all, but it's not the same as Medicare. So Sanders, he's got an 8-page plan, and it has something for everyone: long-term care coverage, dental care, no deductibles, zero copays. As opposed to the way Medicare goes. The problem with it is it's going to cost $1.38 trillion a year, and it's going to be paid for by the government. Now, if it's going to cost $1.38 trillion a year, where do you suppose that money's got to come from?
I think that I think Bernie Sanders has the seeds to the magic trees that grow the money that's going to pay for all this free stuff that he's going to give us. I
think he's been out in the Midwest. He slipped on some ice, fell, and hit his head really hard.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, I can't even fathom that. There's no way. $1.3 trillion. What does that even come out to per person? I can't even do the math. I don't even know.
Good Lord. I mean, my calculator won't go that high.
Can we just give that much money to everybody and say, go fix yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, here, spend it however you want, but this is all you get for healthcare. We're giving, split it up. Give me my, I don't even know how many, what is that? That's got to be in the tens of thousands of dollars per person every year.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't.
That's crazy.
It's just this. I just can't even imagine. $1.38 trillion. My gosh.
The problem with that is he just, and I don't know, maybe I don't know what his plan is, and I don't know where he's putting his emphasis and his focus. But what we really need in this country, because we have a great system, we're still sick, and the problem is there's so much incentive, and here we go back to this whole incentive thing, and I the last person who would ever say we need to take incentives away from people, but there needs to be some sort of a check-in process, a way to govern this somehow, because there's really, let's just take cancer. There's really not a lot of incentive to cure cancer. Imagine if you found a cure for cancer. Then what do you do? Imagine, the billions and billions of dollars lost from cancer care victims. So we've got these pharmaceutical companies that are out producing these drugs for a profit, and I believe in making a profit, but there's not they could bring out a new drug that's really not much better. I think it only needs to be like a 2% improvement over the drug that it's going to replace for it to be FDA approved.
Oh, is that right?
And yeah, it's very minimal. It doesn't have to be significantly better than the drug that it's going to replace. And so, there's a lot of incentives out there for these pharmaceutical companies to keep producing more and more drugs. And think about it. Look at the vaccines. And I know that I get on the vaccine kick a lot, but there are patents out there for hundreds of vaccines. If we had a government mandated policy that says this is your healthcare system, and that means that they're going to dictate, who gets what care. Mm-hmm. What's to stop us from getting, another 50 vaccines in our schedule?
Oh yeah.
And so it's, so the pharmaceutical companies, anytime the government is paying for something, there's going to be a big lobby group behind the government pushing it to do it their way, so that they can profit from it more. Yeah. Someone's pocket is going to get fattened out of this. And that's the part that really bothers me, is we are slowly seeing a lot of our right to choose in healthcare being taken away right here in California.
Would you agree with this statement that because the AMA has one of the strongest lobbies in the United States, and they are backed up by all the drug manufacturers in the United States, that the truth is that the FDA is probably controlled by them or by the government, and we're in collusion with them. The government is saying, it's okay, you guys make as much profit as you want to make, and we're not going to require you to have a very much advancement in order to get drugs approved.
Yeah, exactly. We are getting, doctors from the CDC or from the FDA or whatever, the doctors are executives or whatever they are, mm-hmm. And they go from all of a sudden you being in the government to now they're working for Merck or they're working for Pfizer, and yeah. You can't tell me that it's just because they love the experience of working for the government that the pharmaceutical company says, yes, you're desirable. There had to be there's got to be they're in bed too closely,
Well, what? If Wall Street can pay Hillary Clinton $600,000 for a few speeches, can you imagine what the medical world could afford to pay Congress to make sure that they get what they want?
Oh, it's mind blowing. There's, the corruption is just so, the corruption is already there. It's not a matter of whether it's going to get corrupt. It's already there. It's just a matter of what level will it continue to go to. And if the government is controlling, mandating, that's another thing. If the government is paying for my health care, they're going to mandate how it can be done. And people will say, oh, that's not true. I'll still be able to get, Obama, what did you say?
They said that before, doctor. Right? Yeah, they said that before. Yeah. You get to keep your doctor, and how many people
you get to keep your doctor?
Yeah.
But I can tell you, when I had my clinic in Wichita, when we had a Medicare patient, the care given to the patient had to be it had to improve the health of the patient. It could not be, Medicare does not pay for what they call preventive. If it's something that's going to prevent the patient from getting sick or the person from getting sick, or even if it just stabilizes the person, Medicare says they don't pay for that. And they only pay for things that improve the health of the patient, right?
Okay, but I'm not sure that's accurate. You know, I'm on Medicare, and I have, through Medicare, I have Kaiser, and Kaiser is a proponent of preventative Medicare, not the other way around. They try to keep me healthy so I don't get sick. So, and Medicare pays my bills, so I'm not so sure that's accurate.
Well, yeah, so I went to a meeting actually about this, but it was for Medicare in general. Now we were sitting there, and there's, you know, they're telling us all this stuff, and that was exactly one of the points they made. Mm-hmm. And I said, I have a question. I said, so you're telling me that if a patient is in a hospital bed and is dying of emphysema or whatever, something like that, and the care that the hospital is giving is not improving the health of the patient, that Medicare is not supposed to pay for that? And she goes, yeah, technically that's correct. I go, but they're going to, aren't they? She said, yeah, of course they will. And I'm like, so why is there a double standard? For a small little clinic, you know, for, say, a chiropractor, they're going to reject that. So they actually do have rules. Now, she was very straightforward and very plain about it, because I forced her to be very straightforward and very plain about it, that you know, this is a double standard. And so yeah, the medical system can get away with this stuff because, like you said, you know, there's somebody's pockets are being fattened. Mm-hmm. You know, the pharmaceutical companies control what's going on in our hospitals, and so if they say you need to give this person this drug, you know, you can only push back so far against these pharmaceutical companies before they push really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And so it's an interesting dynamic, and I don't know that there's an answer to it, because we've gone so far, we're so deep into, you know, the pharmaceutical industry controlling our medical agenda.
But you know, it brings up the you know, you and I talked about these issues a long time ago, and how doctors try to they want you to get sick because they want to give you medications, and they just want to try and manage that so they get more dollars in their bank, right? But
absolutely.
But and if that's the case, then they must be creating issue. Well, but you know what? Maybe I'm off track here, because what we talked about is that instead of treating the disease, they treat the symptom. And so the symptoms are always there. They never cure the disease, which is why there's a maintenance issue going on. So they are making that better, but you don't get better. And you were saying that they could have just as easily, maybe not as profitably, but just as easily treated the disease instead of the symptoms. The problem is that in a month or two or three, that patient wouldn't have to be coming back.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you can treat the symptoms and get a lifelong patient. If you've got diabetes, I can put you on insulin, I can put you on metformin or whatever it is they give them, you know, and you can just take that for the rest of your life, and as long as you feel good. And that's what people really care about. They don't care that they have disease in them. They just care how they feel, you know. People don't go to the doctor until they feel bad. Yeah. You know, they don't go in for a checkup to say, "Hey, I just want to make sure that, you know, everything's working right. Check my arteries or whatever." You know, I had a chiropractic friend of mine used to say all the time, you know, if your spine was on your face, you know, people would go get adjusted every day, you know, because you can see it. You know, it's right there. But the stuff inside of our body, we don't see it and we don't feel it. So we really don't. It's not in the front of our minds until we're in pain. Well, so if you give someone a pill that removes that pain, but doesn't remove the disease, they're okay with that, even though they've got to do it for the rest of their life. Even though that is now going. In fact, I heard a commercial on the radio this morning that said it was talking about opioid constipation, OIC, opioid-induced constipation. If you've got that, there's a prescription that they make for, I can't remember what, some drug. They were basically promoting a drug to stop you from having constipation from all the painkillers that you're taking. Not figure out how to fix the problem. Just add more drugs.
I can actually address that. When I had, I had my gallbladder taken out. It was horrible, and they put me on this painkiller called Norco. I'd never had it before, but one of the side effects of Norco is that it does cause horrible, horrible constipation. I want to tell you, I would have rather died with the gallbladder problem than to have to have gone through that constipation problem. It was days that I couldn't go to the bathroom. I never had such pain in my life. And then and the doctor seemed to think of it. I kept saying, man, can I come in? Can you do anything? It was horrible, caused by that one doggone drug. And it was just horrible stuff.
Yeah, that's the problem with the medications is, you want to get out of pain, but now that same chemical that blocks the pain sensor also blocks the function in your gut. So now you're constipated. So now you need another drug for that, and God knows what that drug is going to do to you.
But let me ask you, they must have other choices that don't cause that side effect, right?
Well, I would hope so. Take magnesium if you're constipated.
I tried everything. I tried milk of magnesia. I tried magnesium. I tried.
Even magnesium didn't work.
Oh, I did everything, and this is kind of morbid, so I don't want to go any farther than that. But eventually, we got it taken care of, and we got it taken care of in a way that the doctor said, "Don't do it." Anyway, we got it taken care of. I want to ask you something else along this same line. So let's talk about somebody who one of their arteries are getting clogged, but you know what? They wait until you have a 70 or 80% clog before they go in there and they do any kind of surgery or anything like that. Why can't if they detect it's getting clogged at 30% while you're still safe, why can't they go in and fix it without having to go through this horrible invasive surgery?
That's a really good question. Maybe because it's easier and they can't make as much money off of it. I
think what I'm asking you is, with your store of knowledge, whether you can or can't answer this, is that a possibility that they actually could have gone in and solved this problem before it became catastrophic?
Well, sure, but of course they could. But the problem is you're at 30% blockage. You're probably not even going to feel anything. And I would imagine the medical community is probably going to go, it's not enough of a problem to address it now. Maybe any surgery, no matter how, mild of a surgery it is, it's still invasive, and there's still a risk of you can die from the most minor surgeries, if you get, the wrong infection. And so I think they at that point, 30% or 20 or 30% blockage is probably when they go, the risk is not worth the benefit, because there's not enough blockage to really, prevent the blood flow from, so it doesn't hamper, it's not going to hamper your lifestyle. You can still go out and run around and have fun. And so, why stick something in your body that could possibly, cause even more complications? And I would imagine that that's probably the stance of the medical community with that. They do, their attorneys, of course, definitely want to make sure that if they're going to take a risk, that it's worth that risk.
Yeah, well, I know that the older I get, the more cognizant I become of the fact that, I'm just waiting for arteriosclerosis and things like that. It just comes with old age, right? And even though I exercise, I'm not immune from that happening. The body, as it gets older, just starts doing that. And I'm thinking, I don't want it to get so bad that they make the decision that, hey, you know what? We're going to wait until it's 80%, and maybe it's not 80%, maybe it's 90%, and I die on the table. I'd rather do it when it's 30.
Yeah, I would agree. Me too. Yeah. So, why they don't, I don't know. But again, I'm assuming they just guess that the risk isn't worth it.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's the one thing, you and I have talked about this so many times, and it just smacks of truth, that doctors would much rather manage your health than make you healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know if it's a matter of that's what they would rather do. I think most doctors, I would hope that all of them, but I would at least say most of them, when they get in, their goal is to make people healthy. And I think that they just find out that that's so difficult to do that they learn to just manage. And so they go through the motions. They do what they're taught, manage the symptoms. Hey, the person's got high blood pressure, put them on high blood pressure. Don't ask about why they have high blood pressure. Maybe they it's from drinking too much and eating horrible food and not exercising. Well, there's a simple fix to that. Eat healthy food and go exercise, and your blood pressure will just come back down. There's always a fix, a natural fix, but most people, matter of fact, there's a great book out there. It's called Change or Die, I think is the name of it. And basically he says is 9 out of 10 people, the book was written because he was talking to a cardiologist who said, we do these surgeries on people, the bypass surgeries, whatever, and a few years later they come in and they need the same surgery again. Like, look at Dick Cheney, perfect example. And he's had like 7 or 8 heart surgeries or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, he was having this conversation with his cardiologist, so he started researching this, and what he found was 9 out of 10 people, when faced with a life-threatening illness, will usually not stop doing what it is that's killing them, whether it's smoking. I mean, you've seen people on oxygen turn the oxygen off so they can smoke their cigarette and then turn the oxygen back on when they're done smoking their cigarette because their lungs are still trashed.
And with with that thought, because we're going over, I keep waiting for you to, you never breathe when you talk. You don't take a breath. You just, it's like a starting gate for you, and it's you're like an Olympian, and just go, baby.
Yeah, I feel like you've been doing more of the talking on this show today.
Well, when we come
to a commercial break.
Well, when we come back from the break, I want to talk more about medicine, but I want to make an announcement before we do that. And so we'll be right back with my good buddy Sean LaFave and his Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to talk more about healthcare, but I need to make an announcement because it's just really interesting. If you like planetary discovery, that you're going to love this. So we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Wait, you're sitting down, you're interested in astronomy, you like to think about the planets? Well, catch this. The 5 brightest planets are going to gather in pre-dawn sky for a heavenly show. You know, our 5 closest planetary neighbors are putting on a heavenly show. Starting this week, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are gathering together in the pre-dawn sky. It's the first time that these 5 planets have converged like this in more than a decade. No telescope is going to be needed. Just gaze up. From most anywhere in the world, all 5 planets will appear together until February the 20th. For a decent shot at spotting Mercury, it's best to look next week or the beginning of February. Now, astronomers put optimal viewing at 45 minutes before sunrise. Any earlier, Mercury will be low on the horizon. The 5 planets will be together again in August and again in 2020, but Mercury will be even harder to see. So, Sean, what do you think? You going to get up early and try and spot the planets?
You know, I probably would have a better chance of actually just staying up all night and then watching and then going to bed right after the sun comes up. I could probably make that more doable than trying to get up that early in the morning. I'm not a morning guy. I can stay up all night, but man, that waking up early in the morning thing, it's for the birds.
So you and I are different. When I was young, as a matter of fact, when I was younger than you are now, I was a night kind of guy too. I'd stay up late, and then of course when I actually got gainful employment, I had to get up early. But generally, I'd sleep till 11 o'clock. You know, before I had to work, I'd sleep till 10, 11 o'clock in the morning because I wouldn't go to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning. I was a night guy. And but now at 10 o'clock, man, my eyes are rolling up in the back of my head. But I'm up at sometime between 3:30 and 4:30 every morning. It's just the way my body clock goes.
Well, not me. I am my most productive between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Well, so you call your main squeeze and you say, "Honey, come over tonight. We're gonna have a magnificent dinner. We're gonna have some great wine. We're gonna have some great after dinner cocktails, and then we're gonna watch the 5 planets. You're gonna have to spend the night though, because they're gonna come one by one. They'll gather together, and about 5:45 in the morning, we're going to spot all 5 of them, and we'll be arm in arm, and we'll just keep each other warm outside on the patio." Is that how it's going to go?
Yeah, I'm convinced. Can you write all that down for me? Because I'm pretty sure I would never be able to remember that. Man, you are smooth. You should write a book about this stuff.
Well, you know what? Yeah. Maybe we'll give it a shot. You know. How to win friends and influence people. So anyway, so let's get back to healthcare. I'd like to talk a little bit, because you are an absolute expert on actually curing. I shouldn't say curing. Curing, getting rid of some of these things. You talk about diabetes, you talk about osteoporosis, you talk about all kinds of things. And the truth is that none of what you suggest is what's the word I want to use? Invasive. And so, these are modalities that it's just a matter of usually taking herbs and supplements and being making it a routine, being religious about it, and that generally solves the problem. When we're talking about those, and I know you talk about a lot of other things too, maybe memory, I have no idea, but when you're talking about these things, what is the average amount of time before people start to feel some kind of relief?
Typically 1 to 3 months is when I notice most people they go, wow. I've had some people, they'll go, gosh, 2 weeks into a program, they'll go, I feel great, but it depends on what you're doing. Like I've got, matter of fact, I've got someone that's, I just put on a protocol 6 weeks ago, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago. And, so we do this, this is all herbal supplements. Mm-hmm. It is a 60-day protocol. And it's kind of broken up into 3 20-day protocols. We just do it all continuously. And you do the first 20 days and then the next and the next. But what it is it really is kind of a whole body restorative program that treats I don't want to use the word treat. It supports the systems in the body, supporting liver function, kidney function, thyroid function. I mean, all the basic organs are supported through this program, right? And what it does is it's actually it's meant to help your body detox. Is really the main goal of it.
Is that what they refer to when they talk about colonics?
Sort of. Colonics are they're a type of detox because it pulls stuff out of your intestinal tract, out of your colon. Mm-hmm. But I don't consider that a true detox. It's just really more of like a colon cleanse. And in fact, I think it was Patricia, my sister, when she was on, she goes, I've opened up a lot of cadavers and I've never seen a dirty colon before. So, I'm not a big fan of colonics. A lot of these things, I think that some of them have, for specific purposes, have some health, some very helpful, purposes behind them. But for the most part, real detox can be done without things like colonics. It really, they don't give you true cellular detox. You need to cleanse the body at the cell level. And that's what this program is designed to do. And
you have to do that in a natural way, right?
Yeah, in a very natural way. Yeah. You do it. The basically what you think about, like you talk about, curing stuff. I don't ever say that I cure anything. I give the body what it needs to do the job itself. The body is capable of healing. You just got to do 2 things. One, you've got to give it the tools it needs, which, the herbs, the vitamins, the nutritional supplements, those things. Those are the tools that it uses. But what you've also got to do is you've got to remove those things in the body that are interfering with that process. If you've got, if you're eating horrible food all the time, and you want to fix your obesity, well, you've got to stop eating sugar and you've got to stop eating McDonald's and you've got to stop eating a whole bunch of stuff or you're never going to stop being obese, so you've got to make changes. But there's also things in our body, like we talked about the lead toxicity, in Flint, Michigan, you've got to get the lead out, literally, get the lead out of your head. And, all the other heavy metals. If you live in a house that's filled with mold, or you work in an office that's got mold in it, you're being exposed to these biotoxins that the mold produces. So you've got to remove all that from the body. Matter of fact, a perfect example, and I'm going to come back to this gal here, that I'm doing, cause I love talking about stuff like this, what I'm going to go with her, because I love your reactions to it. Mm-hmm. But my son, you of course, you know what scarlet fever is, right?
Yeah.
So, scarlet fever is, most people would go, that's pretty scary stuff, especially because if it doesn't get fixed, if it goes unchecked, it can develop into rheumatic fever, and now you've got permanent heart damage, right? I'm
going to blow your mind. As a young boy, I did suffer from rheumatic fever. I spent a year in bed without moving, and I went through I was taking 27 pills a day, but after 2 years, I didn't have so much as a heart murmur.
Oh, that's awesome. So you see, the body can heal, and I'm a firm believer that if the organ can still function, it can heal itself. I'm a firm believer. So, I even use the term permanent heart damage, but, I do believe that in most cases, the body can heal itself if you give it the tools necessary. And so my son got, his mom and I were both scheduled to go to this seminar out in Florida, and he got sick. And the seminar started on a Thursday for me, but it didn't start for her until Friday. And so he got sick, and he wasn't feeling well. All of a sudden, we realized he's got strep throat. No, actually, we didn't realize that in the beginning. I left to go out to the seminar. I said, why don't we delay your flight by a day? He'll be better by then, because he never was sick for more than 2 days. Well, after I left, we realized, okay, he's got strep throat. Now, scarlet fever is caused by strep throat. It's caused by the biotoxin that strep throat produces. And so he's got strep throat. Well, then Friday rolls around, and so now she's just staying home with him because he's in bad shape. And she calls me on the phone. She says, Victor has scarlet fever. And she goes, I need to take him to the doctor. And I said, no, you don't need to take him to the doctor. It's scarlet fever is produced by a biotoxin. We treat people in our office for biotoxins all the time. We're going to treat him for biotoxins. And so what we need to do is remove those biotoxins. So we have a protocol. We have an herbal protocol, and we have a carbon that you take that pulls it out of the gut and those kind of things. And she was frankly nervous, and I can't say that I blame her, but because if I was wrong, then he could get rheumatic fever, and even worst case scenario.
Everybody is afraid of the unknown, right?
Yeah, everybody's afraid of the unknown, because what if Sean's wrong? And I actually had a seminar with Dr. Papa. He was up in front of a crowd of like 200 people giving a lecture, and I actually walked up to him and said, I need to speak to you. And he goes, and he literally stopped. He looked at me and he said, I'm giving a lecture. I said, I know this is a matter of life and death. I said, I need your help. I need 30 seconds of your time. And I told him what was going on. I said, if this was your son, because he has a son my son's age, I said, what would you do? And he said, oh, give him the biotoxin protocol, give him this. He literally rattled off everything that I said to do. And so we did. We put him, the next day he was already getting better. By the time I got back on Sunday, all of the rash was gone. He was 80% better. By Monday, he was 100% recovered.
Wow.
And so the body can heal itself. It's designed to do that, but you've got to get those things out of the body that are preventing that from happening. And in his case, it was the biotoxins from the strep throat. We had to get those biotoxins out of there. Sure, antibiotics would have done the job, but it would have taken longer, and it would have stopped the progression. But this was actually quicker and more natural and has no side effects. Antibiotics have side effects. Herbs don't. And so, so what you've got to do is, in every case, if there's some sort of, ailment going on, figure out what's causing that, remove that. And so the example I love to use is if I took a knife and I stabbed myself in the leg, my leg would eventually heal if I pulled the knife back out. But I got to get the knife out of there. I can't leave the knife inside my leg, or it's never going to heal. It'll fester around it for the rest of my life. And so you've got to remove chemical exposure, heavy metals, biotoxins, anything bad food that you're eating. Stop putting stuff in your body. What's in there, take it out. And so that's how the body heals. That's how people get cured, if you will. It's not that we're really curing anything. It's just we're removing the stuff that's making you sick. Mm-hmm. So anyway, back to this woman. So I'm treating her, and I don't even remember. There was a point I think I was going to make to this, but now I just want to continue on because the story cracks me up. So I give her this protocol, and 2 weeks into it, she says, hey, I need to talk to you. And she says, I got something weird going on. I said, well, I said, everybody reacts. And that was the point, was some people just, feel better. Everybody reacts, because your question was, how long does it take for people to feel better, before they start seeing results? So some people, you put them on something, they'll feel great within 2 weeks. Some people 2 months. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6 months, depending on how sick they are. Right. But this woman, about 2 weeks into the program, she says, hey, I got to talk to you. She goes, I got something weird going on. I said, that's normal. I said, when you do these, I go, we get people that, will have a rash, or I said, there's some people will even, they'll start, excreting worms, in their when they go to the bathroom. She goes, that's exactly what's happening. And she had one that was the size, she said it was the size of a straw wrapper, was the biggest one she saw.
Okay, we got 1 minute. 1 minute
left. Yeah, anyway, she's been, now her body is able to get rid of these worms, and I actually added more. We actually have a protocol specifically for parasites, for worms. And so point is, you've got to give the body what it needs, and it will take care of itself. It doesn't need drugs. There's no, we have a vitamin deficiency. Nobody has a Norco deficiency. You know what I'm saying? There's no drug deficiency in the body.
But when you're using these modalities, is it a lifetime thing, or do you eventually stop taking these things?
No, it's a right here now. It's not for a lifetime. There are certain things that I will be on for the rest of my life because I believe that we live in such a toxic world that we're constantly have an onslaught of toxins in us that you need to constantly detox. Mm-hmm. You need to replenish. Our food is so devoid of nutrition that I think we need a multi-mineral, multivitamin, and I like to support my glutathione. But as far as like what she's doing, now this is a one-time thing to get her over the hump, and then she'll be fine.
Okay, hey Sean, it's been is this the fastest hour you ever gone through, or what?
It always is.
It always is. You are just absolutely enticing. Your knowledge just blows me away. In any event, I'm looking forward to another full hour with you next Tuesday. In the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay happy. I want you to make everybody's life better because you're in it. That's what actually happens. And just have a wonderful weekend, will you?
Same with you, Robert. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Now, for the rest of you, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the sacred daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 73 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 49 degrees. But you know what? If you live in San Diego, California, it's 63 degrees and mostly cloudy. It's a beautiful day in California, period. Well, you know what? It's time for our Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is make learning harder to increase retention. Yeah, you heard me right. Make learning harder to increase retention. Here's the deal. When information is at our fingertips and attention spans are shorter than ever, it's no wonder that people expect learning to be easy too, you know? But research shows that real learning, the kind which embeds knowledge and skills in long-term memory, is never simple. In fact, easy in, little effort to temporarily retain the lesson typically results in hard out, which is difficulty in retrieving it when you need it. To help you and your team strengthen mental storage, interweave tasks and materials instead of focusing on just one for a big block of time. Allow people to make mistakes and learn from them. Require people to interpret new material in light of what they already know, and use testing as a mode of instruction rather than evaluation. This kind of active learning is important in onboarding programs, during mergers and acquisitions, and for transferring expertise. You want to make sure that you do it right. If you want to remember, it can't be easy. That's the issue that's going on. Well, it's time for our lifestyle tip of the day, and this is a segment where we always talk about this being about a positive mental attitude, and it is. And I just bury this thing every day. But the truth is, there are secrets, and it's based, and you control your own life based on these secrets. And the secret for today is every single human being is meant to be in joy. It is our natural state, and we know it, because when we feel negative emotions, we feel terrible. We want to be happy. And the biggest thing to realize is that happiness is a choice, because it is a feeling generated from the inside of us. We have to make a decision to be happy on the inside now, to magnetize a life of happiness on the outside. That's just a fact, folks. That's just the way it is. Well, you know what today is. Sure you do. It is Thursday, January the 21st, and it is somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah, you know what? And we celebrate the birthdays every day. Well, today, this person was born in 1905, passed away in 1957, just 52 years old. An influential French fashion designer. Happy birthday, Christian Dior. And here's a guy, boy, I'll tell you, born in 1940, regarded by many as the greatest professional golfer of all time. Happy birthday, Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear. And in 1941, a musician known for his intense rhythmic guitar style and his opening performance at the 1969 Woodstock Festival. Happy birthday, Richie Havens. And finally, in 1976, a singer best known as a member of the Spice Girls as Baby Spice. Happy birthday, Emma Bunton. Well, what happened today in history on January the 21st? 1789, the very first American novel, The Power of Sympathy or the Triumph of Nature Founded in Truth, is printed in Boston, Massachusetts. And in 1908, on this day, New York City passes the Sullivan Ordinance, making it illegal for women to smoke in public, only to have the measure vetoed by the mayor. And then finally, in 1977, President Jimmy Carter pardons nearly all American Vietnam War draft evaders, some of whom had immigrated to Canada. I remember that. I don't know if you were old enough to remember that or not. Well, the quote for today comes from Leo Buscaglia. Leo says, "Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around." Yeah, Leo Biscaglia. Boy, what a man he was. Well, you know what, or is, I should say. I don't think he's gone. So let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We've got some good ones here for you today. Let's talk about them. In 1925, the very first motel, the Motel Inn, opened in San Luis Obispo, California. Yeah. 1925. Well, you know, prior to the 1930s, diamond rings were rarely given as engagement rings. Did you know that? Yeah, there's a fact for you. Yeah. How about this? Did you know that all insects have 6 legs? Insects. Okay? And according to legend, there is a Superman in every episode of Seinfeld. I wasn't aware of that. Of course, I wasn't. You know what? I've got to be the only guy that wasn't a real big Seinfeld fan. I just never got into it. But my kids were in it, and a lot of people, my peers, were in it. I just never was. Well, the first product of the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company, 3M, now known as 3M anyway, when it was founded, was sandpaper. Yeah. And let's see here. Did you know that lemon sharks grow a new set of teeth every 2 weeks? That means one shark will go through more than 24,000 new teeth in a year. Wow. Give that some thought. And then finally, kangaroos and emus cannot walk backwards and are on the Australian coat of arms for that reason. Can't go backwards, can only go forward. Now, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to talk about answering your emails. And the first one comes from Hyung Jin Kim from Omaha, Nebraska, asking about stock cost basis. He's bought a lot of stock at different times, wants to know how the heck to figure out what the basis is. And I'm going to tell him all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're coming down to the wire. Time for me to answer your emails. Before I do that, I need to make the same disclaimer that I do every day. You know what? We do our best to answer your questions and do it comprehensively, but we always encourage you to check with a licensed professional before you do anything. They're always going to save you more money than they cost you. They're going to give you peace of mind and allow you to sleep at night. The main reason is because they have to have errors and omissions insurance is one of the conditions of their licensing. That's the same thing as malpractice insurance, which means that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. That's the way you want it to be. So you won't have to worry about a registered letter or a phone call or somebody knocking on your door. You got it covered. So that's where we're at here. Now, my first email, as I mentioned before we went on our break, was from Hyung Jun Kim from Omaha, Nebraska, asking about stock cost basis, and says, I bought shares of stock in a company at different times and prices. Now I need to sell some before year end. Can I pick particular shares to sell for best tax effect? If not, how do I figure the cost of those I do sell when computing gain or loss? Well, Hyung, here's the thing. The general rule is that the first shares bought are deemed to be the first sold for tax purposes, so gain will be figured on the cost of shares that you've held the longest. However, it is possible to select specific shares for sale. To do this, you must identify to your broker the specific shares to be sold, and the broker must provide you with a written confirmation afterward that these shares were actually sold. Now, not all brokers are going to do this, so verify with your broker that he or she will do it. Now, take a look at IRS publication 550. That's investment income and expenses if you need more details with this. Next email comes from Shelby Langlois from Columbus, Ohio, asking about an early retirement with no penalty, and says, is it true that one can take payments from an employer's retirement plan without penalty at age 55? Are there different rules here than for an IRA where a penalty applies before age 59 and a half? Shelby, the answer to your question is yes. If you terminate your employment with a firm in the year you turn age 55 or older and leave your retirement funds in its retirement plan, you can begin to receive distributions from the plan with no premature distribution penalty, which is a 10% penalty, right? For IRAs, a premature distribution penalty generally applies if funds are withdrawn before age 59 and a half. So, if upon terminating employment with a firm at age 55 or later, you transfer funds from its retirement plan to an IRA, you'll delay the time at which you can actually take penalty-free distributions. So keep that in mind. Next email comes from Charles Leon from Palos Verdes, California, asking about a 1099 for a television that he won. He says, I won electronic equipment in a sweepstake and sold it. I received a 1099 from the sweepstakes saying the equipment was worth much more than I sold it for. After paying the tax, I barely come out ahead. Is there anything that I can do about this? Well, here's the thing, Charles. The value of the prize is taxable to you, and the sweepstakes was required to issue that Form 1099. But the amount of the 1099 is not proof of the prize's value. If you show that you could have bought it for a lower market price, it can be taxed at that lower price. You can't use the price that you sold the equipment for as its value because a resale typically brings a lower price than an original purchase. But electronic equipment often is deeply discounted at retail. So if you can find an advertised price for equipment in the papers or in the internet that's less than that 1099 amount, you can report that value instead. Now, it's important, though, explain the difference on your return to avoid an audit. You better, make sure, because you have the matching system. They're going to be looking for that bigger number. And my last email today comes from Kyle Lucas from Brookline, Massachusetts, asking about alimony when living in the same house. Says, my wife and I are divorcing, but she wants to continue living in the same house with me. It's big enough for both of us to live separately until she gets a new one. If she does, may I deduct some of my home ownership costs as extra alimony? Well, Kyle, the answer to your question is no. And your deduction for the cash alimony you pay will be put at risk as well. The IRS does not allow an alimony deduction when former spouses live in the same household, and it considers spouses who continue to live in the same home they formerly shared while married to be in the same household, even if they physically separate themselves from each other within the house. So take a look at IRS Publication 504. That's divorced or separated individuals. Now, I want to remind you that we would like you to get our app. It's available at the Apple Store. Just search Robert Cardoza Live, and the app is absolutely free. You can follow us that way live, and you can chat with us while the show is live, and you can also look at all our archives that are there. And if you have a Windows or an Android product, just go to googleplay.com. Do the same search, Robert Cardoza Live. The app's free, and you can get the same benefits. Now, tell all your friends about it. We'd appreciate you telling them about our show here on Robert Cardoza Live and that app. Now, on my next show, tomorrow, John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I are talking politics on our simulcast, as we usually do. David Garrett won't be here tomorrow, but we're gonna have a fill-in for him. So we just ask you to bear with us, but please tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.